frustrations are mounting among Nigerians as many begin to question the integrity and relevance of the Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board JAMB. These concerns follow a series of controversies involving the board, including its admission of errors in the 2025 Unified Tertiary Matriculation Examination UTME results due to technical glitches during result processing. Trust TV's correspondent in Benue State captured public reactions from Makurdi, the state capital, where some citizens are insisting that JAMB may have outlived its usefulness. The report.
Amid criticisms and backlash, the Joint Admissions Matriculation Board JAMB, in collaboration with key stakeholders in tertiary education, has approved the national minimum UTME cutoff scores for the 2024 admission cycle. At this year's annual policy meeting held in Abuja, 150 was adopted as the minimum score for university admissions, 100 for polytechnics and colleges of education, and 140 for colleges of nursing across Nigeria. This implies that no tertiary institutions may admit students who score below these thresholds, although individual schools may set higher cutoff marks for their programs. The announcement comes in the wake of JAMB's admission for a technical error that affected the 2025 UTME results at 157 centers nationwide. Despite measures taken to correct the situation, the public criticism continues to intensify, with many Nigerians, especially on social media, expressing deep dissatisfaction with JAMB's performance, questioning both its credibility and relevance in the current educational landscape. Some argue that JAMB no longer fulfills its intended role in regulating admissions into tertiary institutions. Another major concern is the high failure rate, with over 70% of candidates consistently scoring below 200 over the past 3 years. Parents and students also continue to raise issues with the computer-based test CBT system, which has frequently experienced technical failures since its introduction. Public perception suggests that students often travel long distances to examination centers only to be let down by malfunctioning systems or administrative lapses. Despite these challenges, some stakeholders still recognize the vital role JAMB plays in standardizing the transition from the secondary to tertiary education in Nigeria.
Yeah, JAMB continues to remain relevant in terms of assessment of learners who are transiting from post-basic schools to the tertiary. It has brought about standards in admissions across all levels of the tertiary school, and for now that there is no alternative to that transitioning, it still remains relevant, and we cannot say there's another way in Nigeria to do that. If you go to other countries in the world, there are different pathways to getting admission into tertiary schools. But in Nigeria, that remains the only viable option, except when you have remedial programs around schools. But even when you have remedial programs in the tertiary schools, necessarily you need to go back to have those JAMB entry documentation, even in part-time institutions like the National Open University.
To acknowledge JAMB's importance in the educational sector, but questions the board's monopoly of admissions. He noted that recent lapses were the result of an overwhelming mandate and insufficient digital infrastructure.
JAMB is the only body saddled with this responsibility. It is having that monopoly. And of course, once we begin to see the inadequacies of JAMB and problems regarding the examination, like what happened this year, where over 78% of candidates who wrote didn't get up to 200 marks to enter normally into tertiary schools, then you see that there is this monopoly is not for the good of the Nigerian populace, especially the candidates, especially the parents, especially critical stakeholders who are concerned about it. It's very sad because of that monopoly, the whole JAMB is the whole thing is over-centralized. They may not even have the capacity, the personnel, and then the digital technology that is needed, those facilities for them to be able to conduct this exam for millions of Nigerians.
For school administrators, the reduction in minimum cutoff marks is seen as a dangerous trend that could encourage laxity among students and ultimately lead to decline in educational standards.
I'm strongly against it, because when I read that, I said, what do these people want in this country? Because if you are in the system and you see what the students are doing these days, they are no longer serious. So reducing the marks from 180 to 150, you are encouraging even those very unserious ones to get into universities. And when they get there, what happens? They depend on others. We give assignment there. They look for someone that intelligent, and then the person does the work, and then they submit at the end. So it will affect the standard of education.
Ahembe emphasized the need for JAMB to address critical gaps in its operations to restore public confidence.
Because of what happened, they should sit up and then look and check where the mistake came from, where the failure came from, so that they can now, work on it and then improve on it.
In response to the growing concerns, stakeholders are recommending a complete overhaul of JAMB. Proposals include adopting an advanced digitally secured examination model that allows candidates to sit for exams from home or from certified local centers. They are also calling for reintegration of real-time monitoring, facial recognition, and AI-based surveillance systems to safeguard the integrity of the UTME process.